Alright, guys, hey, this is another UniBeam, JonathaNisMagnuM, and TheAmazingSpidey63 podcast coming at you. Today's topic, the rumor we've heard from, I think it was Latino Review, suggesting that Marvel is planning a Planet Hulk and or World War Hulk installment for the next Hulk solo outing. This is UniBeam, and he's here with...
Jonathan is Magnum. You can call me Johnny or John.
This is the main Spidey63. On podcast, I'm known as 63 or Zach Marvel.
Alright, cool. And before we get started, I want to let all the listeners know that we are looking for more suggestions on topics you guys would like to hear. This one today comes from American Psycho on CBM. And we've had other topics thrown at us, like the Shield TV show or the Fox Cinematic Universe. You guys remember any of the other ones that were thrown at us?
I think it's that or
Comic book movie or comic book animated movies.
oh there you go. Thank you. Yep.
Yeah, that was another one.
Yeah, and then Nerdy Geek suggested another one that I'd like to tackle at some point in the future about the relation between terrorism and comic book movies. And then Ghostfire suggested why are comic book movies so popular in today's pop culture. And then we've also had suggestions like most overrated comic book movies. And I just want to put that out there right now, guys. That's something we want to deter from. We were trying to stay away from those kinds of topics. While they would be fun, we don't want to alienate any listeners with our personal views on what could possibly be their favorite comic book movies. But anyways, I'm gonna let today I'm gonna let 63 take off with his initial thoughts on a Planet Hulk movie.
Well, my thoughts on it really, it's I don't know. I have a. It's kind of confusing really because I just think they should, for now, in my opinion, because with that story arc or story event, it has a lot of characters that Marvel Studios doesn't even have yet because they still at other film studios that will take a while for Marvel to get back. So
Right.
for them to go on and do a Planet Hulk or Hulk film, I just think it's the wrong move, wrong step for Marvel Studios. Really, they should just avoid that.
Yeah. What do you think, John?
Well, I think what they're doing, I think it's a bold move on Marvel's part to really go that way with the Hulk and to bring that specific storyline to a live action film.
Yeah.
But I will say that I think it's kind of a good plan considering with the Guardians of the Galaxy movie coming out. That's going to be a film where I don't think there's going to be hardly any human, relationships, or anything. It's going to be more like a cosmic event.
Right.
So what I'm really thinking that if they're really taking a risk and they're taking a small step with this Guardians of the Galaxy movie, because let's face it, if the Guardians of the Galaxy doesn't work for some strange reason, it won't be. I don't think it's going to hurt Marvel that much because they've already got enough properties that they know they already have bankable characters on. They've got Thor, they've got Captain America, and they've got the Avengers. So I think that with that, if it does work, it's going to let them know that they can do that type of film.
Yeah, and I think that's a good comparison between the two. If Guardians of the Galaxy does flop, I think it might deter people it might deter Marvel from doing a Planet Hulk movie. Personally, my views are that I loved the Planet Hulk comic book. It was one of my favorite Hulk comic books to date, if not my favorite, period. And you guys know how big a Marvel fanboy I am. I honestly don't want to see it translated to the big screen. I just don't feel like it's going to work there. That is going to be almost completely CGI movie, and considering how much CG went into making the Hulk look so realistic in just the Avengers, I can't imagine how much money and time and manpower it's going to take in order to do characters like I'm blanking on their names now. Brood, Meek, I can't remember all their names right now, but a lot of them are not Earthlings. They don't look human, and they're going to take a lot of CGI or motion capture, and that's going to take a lot to do as well. But I also don't know if the general audience is ready to see Hulk being thrown into another planet.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, your points have like a lot of good reason. Like the whole thing is, you don't want to lose your audience. It's a good point that you bring up having them all CGI and like not having any person to person connection. I mean that's why in some of the comic book movies that we see, a lot of the times us core fans we get angry when when a certain superhero or something loses his mask or decides to take it off a lot. But I think the reason that is because the directors, the movie makers, they don't want to lose that human emotion.
Yeah.
Where I mean, as to me, I could care less. If I ever made like a Spider-Man movie or a Captain America movie, I mean, his mask would be on anytime that the costume's on.
Right.
I mean, the only time that his stuff would be off is if he's like just getting home or something like that.
Yeah.
But so I think doing that with CGI, you have a risk of losing, your losing an audience.
Right. And it sounds like your cash register is pretty full, bro. You better change that. But yeah, I agree, dude. One of the problems I have is that Hulk is the only recognizable character to a general audience in this film. And while in the comic book story, Silver Surfer gets in the arena with the Hulk, Fox owns the rights to him. So the only other plus thing I can think of is that it's a perfect chance for Beta Ray Bill to make his cameo in the Marvel Universe the way he did in the Planet Hulk cartoon, because they substituted him for Silver Surfer.
Yes, yeah, that'd be a good idea. But I think then you have a lot of you'll probably get a lot of comparisons to where they're just copying the animated movie and they're just bringing that to live action. And I think as a director, because I don't know, there's a lot of artistic. Being a director or just being in film or anything in general, you have to be artistic, and I think that's why when fans take for example the Green Lantern, the Green Lantern First Flight, that movie was amazing critically. I mean that movie was awesome and it was right up a fan's alley. They knew they knew everything and they were very very satisfied with it. People were like, well. After the Green Lantern live-action movie came out and was such a flop, people were like, you could have, and I was one of those people that said, you could have just taken First Flight and made it into real life and you would have had your movie, but I think from a director standpoint, from everybody else, they would have been bored just, translating something from, exactly from, cartoon or from comic to film.
Yeah, it's like we said in the last podcast, not the lost one. Now that's Saints domain. I won't get there, but yeah, like we said in the last Justice League podcast, Justice League Doom would be a perfect movie to translate to the big screen, and so I think the connection between the animated films and the live action films, there's not such a big gap in between them, and actually some of them probably do deserve to be translated to the screen, but I can't say that Marvel has any under their belt.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that goes to say that I don't think there's ever been a comic book movie from Marvel where they've actually paid attention to a specific story arc.
No, it's usually an amalgamation of a couple of them.
Yes. Yeah.
What do you think, 63? 63.
Yeah, I'm right here.
Hey, what are your thoughts, man?
Hold on, I was going in and out. What were we talking about again?
We were talking about animated movies being translated into motion pictures because Marvel has already put out an animated Planet Hulk.
Oh, that. I'm not sure. But first, just to start off, that movie I thought it was pretty entertaining. I loved it from beginning to start. But for it to be translated onto like everything from that movie onto the MCU on the big screen.
Yeah.
I'm kind of iffy on that part because I want them to stray away from taking things from anime films and like making it as their own. They got to be original with it when it comes to that. From like you said, from Dirk's standpoint, you want to try and just keep away from taking others' like picking other people's work and making it as your own.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just go with what they have to go with what they feel with this. Honestly, I honestly think that they should just follow the comic books if they ever go with the Planet Hulk film.
Yep.
But I honestly can't see the anime film Planet Hulk. I can't see that being translated onto live screen really.
Yeah. The Planet Hulk animated film was missing quite a few elements from the comic books, which is understandable. I mean, I think if memory serves correctly, I think Planet Hulk by itself, that whole arc was ranging from 10 to 12 issues maybe. So I mean, there's a lot of ground to cover in an hour and 15-minute animated film.
Yeah.
So, and they were even missing characters. I don't think Brood was in it at all.
Savage.
And we don't. At the end of it, we don't see the spaceship blowing up and killing Hulk's wife. Spoiler alert! I'm sorry, I didn't say that sooner. But if you haven't read it and you're listening, Hulk gets married and she dies.
Spoiler.
But
Spoiler alert.
here's the thing for me. I don't know if I just feel like a Planet Hulk film would digress so far from what Marvel has established already, and they've already confirmed that Hulk is not going to be in Phase 2, at least with his solo outing. I mean, as far as cameos go, I don't know where he stands, but so Phase 3, I mean, it could be completely different from Phase 1 and what we've seen and come to know so far. So, but for me, as of now, Planet Hulk just doesn't seem like a feasible project it seems like an undertaking that would just not prove fruitful.
It just doesn't add up with what we're getting from Marvel about Phase 2, and then what we might possibly get in Phase 3, really, because if they, and God forbid them doing a Planet Hulk and World War Hulk, because if I'm not mistaken, and I can't remember correctly, I think in between those two story arcs, it was the Civil War, if I'm not mistaken. And then I think at the end of the war, that's when World War Hulk comes in.
Yeah, the Marvel universe took one hell of a beating after another.
Yeah, and again, God forbid Marvel Studios going ahead with Planet Hulk and World War Hulk, because in order for them to do that, we need a fucking Civil War film, and I do not want that. I mean, to be honest, I wasn't that big of a fan of Civil War, and another one is because that specific story arc has a shit ton of characters that, again, Marvel doesn't even have, and also the Marvel Cinematic Universe has been deeply explored to the point where we're going to have a Planet Hulk and World War Hulk film. So again, this is my opinion. This is a horrible step that Marvel is going to take if they ever go with it. So.
Yeah, let's establish this right now, though. Anyone listening, if you're under the impression that Planet Hulk's been confirmed, it has not. We're just speculating on the rumors that we've heard. It's just a rumor as of now. But 63. Now, I'm going to respectfully disagree with you on the Civil War storyline. That's honestly what got me into the modern day comics. It's what got me picking up all the recent titles again in 2007 to now. And hey John, what's going on, bud?
Sorry, man.
Oh, you're good.
Sorry, I'm playing over here.
That's good. But I love Civil War, and it might be partly because Steve McNiven's art. I just fell in love with his art. It was really good.
Yeah, I agree on that. Yeah, that was good art.
But I also think that Planet Hulk doesn't need to hinge itself on the Civil War storyline. I think it can be easily detached from the Civil War storyline. My other gripe is, which I've heard a few other fans say as well, I don't want to see the Illuminati, which consists of Professor X, Namor, Reed Richards, Black Bolt, Iron Man, and there's one Doctor Strange, right? I don't want to see them become villains. I mean, if you do a Planet Hulk story, Hulk has to become the sympathetic character, and in order to do that, you have to make all of those characters, which we've come to know and love, you have to make them basically the bad guys from the very beginning.
Well, I think that also happens in Civil War, like that's one of the main things is, the readers, I think with the easier thing with comics is because comics are still, as popular as they are, they're such a, they're ongoing and they're everlasting. Like Iron Man's gonna be here probably, way after we're gone, and he's been here for 50 years already. So I mean, you have that ability with comics that they know, like, well, as soon as a new writer gets on it, something's gonna happen where Tony's gonna redeem himself and become a force of good. I mean, that it's been up and down, for the last 50 years.
Right.
With a film, you have a 2-hour time frame. So if you basically make it evident that someone's going to be your villain, then you're going to be in some trouble.
Yeah, I just don't. I mean, I'm trying to also remain objective, as in kind of vicariously going through the general audience's perspective. And once you establish those heroes as being a villain to Hulk, you start to see a side of them that you might not have ever wanted to see, because these are your heroes. These are heroes you're following in solo outings, and you don't want to see a Planet Hulk movie. In my opinion, you don't want to see a Planet Hulk movie and then go and see another Iron Man film and knowing the last time you saw him that he was sending off Hulk to another planet because basically the Earth couldn't deal with him anymore.
Well, yeah, because that's the thing. Like you're not going to get another chance to get a second impression. I want to say is like once because that's what I'm saying. Movies are a lot different than in television and anything else. Where in movies, people can change up and down, or someone can get their redemption back, but that's not going to happen in a live action feature film. If Tony turns bad, he's going to be remembered. Oh, he was the villain, and then it's not going to be for a whole 2 years up until I guess the next Iron Man movie. He's going to be portrayed, oh, Tony went bad, he's bad, and everything like that. And I mean, that's one thing that I think they might want to steer clear from, especially with the general audience, because the general audience isn't as forgiving as, let's say, a comic book fan. A comic book fan, they'll watch, a movie and they won't like it, and, they might have to watch it again just to try and like it, because, if it's about your favorite character, you're going to want to try and give it some hope. But I mean, from a general audience perspective, if I'm not a fan of something and I watch it and it's crap, I'm not going back.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not. It's basically that's what I'm saying. Some of the general audience, they're not fans, so they're not sticking with the character. Like the Green Lantern movie sucked, but that doesn't mean I'm not a Green Lantern fan. I'm a fan of Hal Jordan from the books, from the cartoons, and everything else. So I think that's kind of what would happen if they went that route.
Exactly. And once you put something in a film like this, where it's a shared universe, I mean, that's set in stone. You can't be like the comic books and have like Spider-Man, Mephisto, or whoever erase everybody's memory of who he is and forget Mary Jane's marriage to him and shit like that. That doesn't fly in the movies. You're gonna really deter your audience after something like that.
Exactly.
63, so there, dude.
Big man cut out.
Either that or he's making himself a sandwich. But, yeah, and also, if you're going to do a Planet Hulk story and you're going to do it right, you have to end it with his ship blowing up and killing his wife.
Yeah.
And you can't just leave that hanging, I mean, he's got to come back and he's got to get his revenge on the ones he felt fucked him over. Pardon my language. But I don't want to see World War Hulk. I mean, Planet Hulk, I'm on the fence about, but World War Hulk, I know I don't want to see. As epic of a storyline as that was, I don't want to see that on film, because Hulk basically taking over New York and then making the Illuminati fight each other and in front of the entire city and shit. It's not a good route to go. I mean, you really start to make all your heroes villains.
Yeah, and like it just goes back to what we were saying, man. In comics, that's just the different medium. There's stuff that you can do in comics that you just can't do in film. Which like I know people, and that's the thing. People think that they want a Civil War movie, or think they want. But I mean, all in all, looking at how film is made and how people perceive film and everything like that, it just, to me, it doesn't sound like it'd be a good idea.
Yeah, no, I'm on the same side of the fence as you, man. I mean, as much as I love the Civil War storyline, I don't want to see that translated on film. There are certain things that don't need to be on the film, and they need to be strictly for the comic book readers. And these movies gain any more fans through just the films, those fans can go out and find certain comic book storylines like Civil War. If you can even go so far as to make an animated version of Civil War, which I'd be fine with seeing that.
Same here.
But as far as live action, I don't want to see that. But going on to a different topic with Planet Hulk, I think that the one thing it could have going for itself is that Hulk, notoriously has always been a character that wanted, to be isolated. It was a willingness on his part to be isolated from everyone else because he basically didn't fit in. We have to remember that this character was created to be a monster. He was kind of birthed in the era of, the next generation following all of the Universal horror films, and that's what Stan Lee based him off of. And so he's, kind of part Frankenstein, part Jekyll and Hyde, and, the Planet Hulk movie could be a perfect opportunity to show the isolation that he craves.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that would be it. Like I said, it'd be one hell of a risk, man. I mean, that's really all I'd have to say about it. Is it'd be like one of the biggest risks, other than working on Guardians of the Galaxy for Marvel, because there's everything that we pointed out. The fact that you'd have to bring in substitute characters due to licensing and copyright, ownership issues.
Yep.
And I mean, it'd be a risk. So, I mean, the big thing is whether or not, the main question is whether or not Marvel is prepared to take the heat, because, like you said, there's fans not just of Hulk, but just of that specific story arc, and then there's I just see there's a lot more cons than there are pros to come with that.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you. What do you think, 63?
Right now, I'm just thinking of how all of this can add up within the phases of the MCU right now, because to me, right now, from what I'm seeing in Phase 2 for Avengers 2, I see that we're going to build up to, and like we said, something small and personal close to the Avengers. So, of course, Masters of Evil, and hearing what they said, what the thing review said, like they're going to be sending up Hulk into space, and then we're going to get Planet Hulk and World War Hulk. And for Avengers 3, I just don't see that adding up anywhere, because honestly, from what we got for Phase 3 as of now, having Ant-Man and Doctor Strange being the spearhead of Phase 3,
yeah,
I just can't add up what they told us, really. I just think that for the rumor, I think it's not going to come to confirmation. Something else is going to happen along the line for Phase 3, and to me, that's not going to be Planet Hulk or Hulk in any near future yet. So I don't know what to think of it, real honestly. I'm just a little baffled by it.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. I mean, I just feel like it's really a digression for Phase 3, even though we don't know anything about Phase 3. Hell, we hardly know much about Phase 2 right now. But it seems that all of Phase 1 had a very interconnecting theme,
Yeah.
and Phase 2 is adding up to having an overarching theme as well, in the sense that we talked about in our first podcast, Marvel Phase 1 to 2. The theme there seems to be much more of a personal journey for each hero, instead of just kind of establishing who they are, right? So yeah, Hulk being shot into space by the heroes, and then again, to have the Hulk, whose last outing so far will have been the Avengers, and then to shoot him into space, it's like,
What the hell?
what happened in between that event, the Avengers forming, and then
And him being sent out to space.
yeah, like why he showed he's a hero. He controlled it. He did good for the city. As far as I know, the city loves him and thinks of him as a hero. What could he have done that's so bad that he needs to be shot out in space to a different planet?
And for them to go and do that to the Hulk, they have to explain to us what the Hulk did. And in order for them to do that, we need another solo Hulk film for the Phase 2 of MCU. So again, I just don't see how that all adds up for the Hulk to be shot up space and us having Planet Hulk and World War Hulk. It just, again, it don't add up to me, in my opinion.
Yeah, I say, I think the Avengers really whetted everyone's appetite for some more Hulk, and I think it's a little bit. I think it's a big shame that Marvel's not capitalizing on. They're not capitalizing on the fact that the audience wants to see more Hulk. They don't. They want to see him on Earth, and I think there's a lot of other story arcs that could be adapted. Hell, in the Incredible Hulk, they alluded to the leader.
Yeah, that's why I told everyone, because they that was a big, here's what's gonna happen. It's of course we're gonna see the leader, but when? We can't have a Planet Hulk and then forget about what we just saw in the Incredible Hulk. I mean, what the fuck was that about then?
Yeah, and what's the leader been doing through all this time of his silence? I mean, his head hasn't popped up above water yet, but I mean, he's obviously there at somewhere because Marvel specifically put that in their film.
Plus, also, I think that they should look more into the villain roster for Hulk, because there's still some good some good villains out there for the Hulk to have in a movie with, and some good storylines as well. Not that I can tell from the top of my head, really.
Well, even Red Hulk would be cool to see, or the leader breaking out Abomination, because Abomination's still alive as far as we all know. So that way you have the psychological threat of the leader, who's one of the smartest big brain villains in the Marvel universe, but you also have someone for the Hulk to go toe to toe with, and I guarantee that the Abomination's wanting a rematch with the Hulk.
Oh yeah, but I think the problem, because I asked a lot of fans this too. I asked them if they want to see Hulk or Red Hulk in another film.
Yeah.
They just want him, man. I mean,
they do. I didn't think many people were fans of the Red Hulk, to be honest.
Yeah, it's surprising that there are some fans out there for the Red Hulk, but they don't want him in a Hulk sequel yet. They didn't explain why, but in my opinion, I would like to see that. I'm not gonna fret over it if they go with it. I'm all for that, for Red Hulk to come in.
I am too. I'm with you on the Red Hulk thing. I just don't know if he should be in the direct sequel because he is such a new villain. I mean, I don't think he was even made.
He was made about 4 years ago.
Yeah, let's say 2008, 2009, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, he was made about 4 years ago. Jeff Loeb created him. I think Jeff Loeb and Ed McGuinn is working on the Hulk, but
yeah, I've got those comics. They're pretty good.
Yeah, when it comes to the Red Hulk and when it comes to the villains of the Hulk, that's what I'm going back to. Like I keep on reiterating, can't say it strong enough that I think that's what Marvel's doing with this Guardians of the Galaxy. They're not just putting this movie out to put another movie out. Got a bigger master plan to it, and I really think that plan is, they'd rather get a very little known property like the Guardians of the Galaxy, even though it's got core fans.
Yeah.
It's not generally one of the most popular, but I think what the coolest thing is if this works, if this Guardians of the Galaxy movie works, because it's a space epic kind of film.
Yeah.
I think that's going to convince Marvel. It's like, okay, so if they like that, imagine what we're going to do when we take one of our most famous characters, and that's of course the Hulk, and put him in a space epic and give that to him, or make him deal, because obviously everybody knows Hulk's, his rogues gallery isn't very human.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of beasts. And a lot of them are the same way. They're gamma infected or gamma radiated. It's on that toll. So.
Yeah,
like I keep on saying, it's I'm guessing that's what they're doing. And I can imagine that's probably what they thought when they made Iron Man. They're like, well, if this works, let's try if we put out 2 movies like Hulk and Iron Man. If those 2 movies work, let's go a little bit more and give out Captain America and Thor, and then if all 4 received, then we're gonna get Avengers. So
yeah. Here's my idea. Okay, I'm gonna kind of switch gears here, and think now if a Planet Hulk movie were to be made, it's gonna have to take some liberties. The movie's gonna take some liberties and alienate itself a little bit from the comic books version. And what I'm thinking is since the Guardians of the Galaxy is coming out, like you said, John, I think a good route for them to go would be, instead of our heroes, and to save face, instead of our heroes sending out Hulk, what if it's Thanos? What if Thanos sees Hulk as too big a threat when he goes to Earth and he decides to rid himself of the biggest threat of all of them? He's the one who sends out Hulk into space. Now, any listeners right now might be going, "Oh, fuck that, man. That's a stupid idea." But at the same time, you got to think of, from all the points we've already mentioned, that it's actually a smart idea to do something like that. I'm not saying do that specifically, but if there's a villain, make sure the villain is the reason the Hulk's out in space, not the heroes.
I agree. Plus, we don't know we don't know what else they're gonna do with Thanos, so I think that'd be a good use of Thanos for them to put into set up the film really. If they go with that, I'm fine with that. Then I'm fine with the World War Hulk and playing a Hulk movie. It's gonna use more Thanos in my opinion, because we established him in 7 years. We'll get an appearance from GOTG. So by all means, if they do go with that, then fine, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, that doesn't have to be what happens, but in order for a World War Hulk movie for me to make sense, you've got to make sure the good guys stayed good guys and the bad guys stay bad guys. And I don't think any fan is going to honestly gripe about seeing more Thanos. I think that's something we all want to see after that teaser in the mid-credit scene of the Avengers. We want to see some Thanos, and if he's the reason the Hulk shot out into space, and it's for justified reasons, like it's motivated on Thanos' part, I don't see why fans can't accept it, even if they have read it. I mean, of course, they're already going to have to accept the fact that Silver Surfer is not going to be in it, so why not a few other digressions, as long as the heart of the story of Planet Hulk is still there.
Yeah, I agree.
One thing I do hope does not come out of a World War Hulk movie, though, is Scar. I don't want to see Hulk having a son. I really don't want to see that at all.
He's a cool character, but I don't want Hulk to have a fucking son in the films.
I don't either. And, there's 50 years worth of other material to go off of, which is why I'm saying maybe a World War Hulk in general isn't really deserved quite yet.
I agree, dude. Plus, and this is my biggest gripe for that. The MCU hasn't been greatly expanded on to even adapt such a story like that. So I'm sure we'll take some liberties here and there we'll change it up a bit here and there, but in all honesty, I just think they should just leave that out for now.
Yeah, but
let's put. I'm in the same boat.
Go ahead, John.
I'm in the same boat, and I definitely think there's a lot of things you don't want to. Any time that you do, I think with a comic book movie, the main challenge is what new are you bringing to the table? Like what new venture? And I think just with Hulk, it is a new venture and it's something really risky. But I definitely think that I just see a lot of people giving it comparisons to other things. I see a lot of people comparing it to the Gladiator film. It's like, oh, all it is Gladiator with the Hulk in it instead, or something like that.
But that's cool in itself. You ask me, that sounds badass.
Yeah, I mean, it does, to a fan, because of course, we've seen it and read it, but I think with a general audience, because I think that's one of the main things that really astounded everybody is, I think, movies like Iron Man and just any movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they've been greatly received by people who weren't even fans, and now they're becoming fans.
Yeah.
I think if anything, that's I've seen more of a surge of that in the last couple of years with the Marvel Cinematic Universe and with Marvel getting its own, studio company, rather than before, when comic book movies were just comic book movies. Now, with the way that just culture is now with the social media and everything like that. Like, I'm seeing people that never had one single interest in a comic book movie who are now, can't wait for stuff.
Quote unquote fans, right? We're all avid fanboys here, and so I don't know. It's tough for me. I mean, it seems a little bittersweet if they do a Hulk film. I mean, one, I want to see some more Hulk. Two, I want to see Hulk kicking some real ass, and that's another thing too, is that if you have him fighting aliens, it can be more gruesome because he can tear these assholes apart and no one's gonna complain because he's not tearing humans limb from limb either. But at the same time, it's just like it has to be such a highly stylized film. It has to basically establish a whole nother world. Guardians of the Galaxy will be doing that, but I mean, I don't know how much that's going to take place on an actual spaceship as opposed to a planet. But I mean, you have to make this planet from scratch unless you're um, planning on using some leftover material and set designs from, like, say, John Carter or something.
Yeah.
Planet Hulk's just going to be a real feat in and of itself.
Yeah, man, I agree. Just the whole scope of it, it's pretty big, really, visually, and again, I don't know. I'm very confused on it. I want them to, in my opinion, with comic book movies and with what Marvel's doing, they keep close with their materials, and I mean, sure, there are some little tweaks here and there. I mean, they're not closely adapted from the source material, but they do focus on it. But with Planet Hulk and with the characters that are being in that story and all, I want every character being there from the comic books and onto the movie. But it's going to be such a while for us to get back, characters from Fox and Sony. So I don't know. Again, confused on this really.
Yeah. What's interesting to note about Planet Hulk, though, is that it's really a story about the Hulk being a messiah as well. I mean, he's basically the quote unquote Jesus for this Earth. It's his.
Yeah.
It's foretold in a prophecy that someone, the World Breaker, would come and, or I don't know if it's the World Breaker or the Green Scar. They call them both. I don't remember which one is the actual prophesized moniker, but it's a tale about the Hulk being Jesus, and you think, and it's weird to correlate the two because Jesus is kind of this bringer of peace and salvation, and Hulk is this guy's just a destructive force. But okay, now really switching gears here because it just hit me. I think it'd be really cool actually to see Hulk being able to talk literally though. For him to be literate and to be able to speak more than just Hulk smash and puny God, that would be nice to see. But here's the thing too: what are you gonna have Mark Ruffalo playing, because he's not gonna be getting a lot of FaceTime. So as long as he's okay with just being basically the mocap for Hulk the entire time, you might not see the return of Mark Ruffalo, and that might mean another recast for Bruce Banner again.
Well, I don't know. Like how they did with Hulk's voice, where they mixed up Ruffalo's voice with Ferrigno's voice. I mean, he could try and do that. I just want, and as you brought up, we won't be seeing Banner, of course. We don't see Banner.
You see him one time in the comic books, and it's like Hulk and Banner are two separate beings.
Yeah.
Well, see, I definitely think that's one of the, not downfalls, but if anything, that's probably going to be one of the things that people are going to stray away from is, how are you going to make a movie just with the Hulk, about a CGI creature the entire time?
Yeah, I mean, because you can't. I mean, luckily Ruffalo's not. No harping on him, and I'm not, nudging into his ribs, but he's not a very marketable actor for Marvel anyway. I don't think. Now that's personal, and I also don't hear Ruffalo getting a lot of attention when you hear about the Avengers. But you got to have something. You have, other than Hulk, to market this film. I think too. You have to have some notoriety with the cast in order for people to feel inclined to go see this movie.
Well, I think because I think that's one of the reasons that John Carter was not, really well received, is because he was like one of just a couple of humans in that film, But when you had, I mean, that's what I'm saying. You have a great actor like Willem Dafoe voicing an important character. But you couldn't gravitate to that character. I mean, I didn't, I wasn't really impressed with John Carter. And I mean, that's what I'm saying. When you bring up a movie like Planet Hulk, you have to start thinking, it's Hulk meets John Carter, or it's Hulk meets Gladiator. And I think when people are already giving that title and it isn't even into production yet, you're going to start to see a little bit of problems.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're already starting to see, just from our podcast, I think all three of us are kind of unanimous, and we're not really favoring a Planet Hulk movie, and that you're already getting some backlash from the core fans. So
Exactly.
it's a hell of a risk. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's not to say that we've already seen it animated, and it's not to say that um, it will never be, but I mean that just for right now and just that I see that as something that would just turn the tide into the success that they've been having.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of the animated Planet Hulk, to be honest, and a lot of that hinged on the fact that the animation was just pure crap. That's just my personal opinion. I really did not enjoy the animation at all. Hulk looked so two dimensional. His nose literally looked like it was on the same plane as his eyeballs.
Yeah, and I mean, just there's going to be so many other things that just kind of I don't know. There's just so many things that people are going to be like, yeah, I just see too many of that, especially with the way the animated version is. Because I haven't read the Planet Hulk in a long time, and I haven't even seen the movie in a long time. But I don't know what it was, the little connector or the yellow thing that's attached to his chest, where it actually starts giving him a mind and making him speak and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, I just think, and that's going back, that's
Straight
where
out of John Carter, honestly.
yeah, absolutely, yeah. There you go. Yeah, so I mean, like people are gonna definitely compare the two because I mean that's what all fans do in general. Like I mean we see it every day when we hit the chat rooms or when we hit the comment threads. People are always trying to compete Batman with the Avengers or the Dark Knight series with the Avengers or even when it comes to the Spider-Man film franchise. People are always comparing the Raimi movies to the new Mark Webb movies. So I mean, I just think doing something like that instead of making something new and breaking new ground would be it wouldn't be in their best interest.
Yeah, I have to agree with John. 63.
No, no, all the same. I agree with him as well. You can definitely see that coming out from the fans if we do get that kind of movie. Because as fans, we compare and contrast a lot of things together, and with that's just gonna create some problems really. And we like John said, they need to come up with something a little more original and try and stay along the line of that. I don't know. Again,
it even kind of doesn't make it worse, but I mean like it doesn't help the fact that John Carter just came out last year. So I mean, I can tell that even as much of a flop as John Carter might have been or was, or what everybody wants to say about it, if
Still fresh in their minds.
Huh?
It's still fresh in people's minds.
Yes, it's fresh in people's minds. So I think when people see it, they're gonna just gravitate and be like, oh man, they're just basically doing a John Carter version of the Hulk, or something like that. So
yeah,
I would rather if it were me, and I can tell one of their troubles and one of their struggles has always been how can you make the Hulk relatable, and I think I'm comfortable with waiting and just seeing what if because I like I said I'm as I said in the Justice League with the Justice League movie. I would wait a while and get something perfect, have something really thought out and planned and meticulously, formed, rather than someone be like, well, you know what, Iron Man's getting his own movie, Thor's getting his own movie, Cap's getting his own movie, let's hurry up and get a Hulk movie out there just for the heck of it. It would just be a rush project.
Yeah, definitely. I personally, what I want to see, and the next time we see Hulk's appearance on the silver screen, I want to see Bruce Banner's character journey. I want to see how he's grown since the Avengers. I mean, we all know from Iron Man 3, none of these characters are the same as before the alien invasion of the Chitauri. And with a Planet Hulk movie, I don't see how we're going to be able to see that growth at all.
I agree. Plus, what I want to see in the next Hulk film is the psychological side of Hulk. I want to see like that inner struggle between Banner and Hulk, as we've seen in many comics of the Hulk, and none that I've read. I haven't read that much of Hulk, but there are times where you see in the psyche of Banner's mind, the Hulk is just trying to break out and be free, while Banner is just keeping him in and containing him. And I think that's such a great part of the character as well. It's such a deep emotional part of the character, and I want that to be translated onto the screen. And I can. To me, it's going to be a guarantee big hit for a film like that. So for them, I don't want the Hulk to be just remembered as the monster that smashes and bashes. There is definitely another side of the Hulk that's more deep and psychological, and that makes the character more interesting. In my opinion.
Exactly. As John was
Yeah, I
saying,
definitely agree. I
yeah.
definitely agree because that's one. I mean, that's one thing that I think kept the 1970s show on for 5 seasons. Is like everybody talks about it, how like between every episode, Lou Ferrigno as the Hulk was only in there for a good amount of 10 minutes, and the show was like 1 hour. The show really focused more on like the pain and the struggle that Bruce Banner or David Banner or whatever you want to call him has to go through. What's his everyday life? He has to travel, and panhandle it from city to city, and all the people that he meets, whether it be someone who is blind or someone who has problems, and that's been the more I think that was the driving force of the show. I think like just having a big guy painted in green throwing stuff around, that was the sugar on top, but the real meat of the show was definitely Bill Bixby's portrayal and the pain that he went through of not being able to do things that normal people do, not being able to fall in love, and not being able to let people close to him. So I
Yeah.
think if they focus something on that rather than something like Planet Hulk, which is Banner's not in that almost at all.
No, not at all.
That would just be like I said, treading in some water that I don't think they'd be ready for, because people want to see that. People love, I mean, more than not more, but I mean, as much as they love, as we've said, the CGI and the action and the costumes and all the fantastical elements, people really want to see the duality of the characters. That's one of the things is, I know you've explained UniBeam, that kept Spider-Man 2 just amazing is, the crap that, Peter Parker, goes through. I mean,
Yeah.
you want to see him persevere. It's like, man, how does this guy keep going? This guy gets shit on every single minute on every single scene he's on. How does he come out on top? So that's what I think really needs to be focused in a Hulk movie.
Yeah, something that's resonating with me, John, is something you said earlier in the podcast, and it's what new do you have to bring to the table? What haven't we already seen from the Hulk? And I think there's a lot of untapped territory for the Hulk. And honestly, what I want to see is like you were talking about, John, the duality amongst these characters of Bruce Banner and the Hulk. I mean, essentially, you have this kind of schizophrenic dual personality thing going on in one body. It's that dichotomy happening, and I think honestly something that'd be really cool to do is to have Hulk and Banner separated, and I think that's a perfect way to incorporate the leader. The leader, I mean, he was already a smart guy. He was already able to somewhat replicate the Hulk in the Abomination. I mean, a rudimentary replication, of course. It was by no means perfected, but if Samuel Stearns can, as a human, with the limitations of his human mind, uh, replicate the Hulk the way he did in the Abomination. Imagine what he can do after that Gamma's amplified his brain power however many times. I think he could find a way to separate Banner's consciousness from the Hulk's body, and then we could really see, physically the internal struggle. We can see the struggle between the two. Hulk isn't going to kill Banner. Banner is physically incapable of killing the Hulk, so you're going to see the way these two guys interact, not just in their mind, but we'll get to see that physically, and I think that's something that's really interesting. That's untapped territory that I think is a new route that Marvel should explore a bit.
And I think that's a great use of a character that's been introduced at the very end of a film that we were promised to get. Because again, if we were to get another Hulk film, and if that's going to be Planet Hulk, and we don't see anything of the leader, then that's just a big waste of in my opinion, of such a great villain, really.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, I don't know who would you consider Hulk's arch nemesis. I always thought it was probably the leader.
Uh, it's either the leader or
I think what's I gotta stop. I just gotta I want to put in my 2 cents on that Hulk and his number one villain.
Go ahead.
I really think that my favorite villain, and it's really I don't know if it's gonna throw people for a loop, but my favorite Hulk villain has always been General Ross.
Oh well, yeah, of course. I mean,
I
yeah.
think, and that's why when y'all were talking about, Red Hulk and everything like that, well, not being directly in a sequel, but I think that would definitely lead up to something, because it's not even that. You see a lot of these Hulk villains, like Abomination and the Leader and everything, and they're more villains for the Hulk. But going back to that duality and the two people inside the Hulk, or the two people that he is, the two personas. General Ross is a nemesis of Bruce Banner and the Hulk. You know, he hates Banner. He really can't hate the Hulk because there's not a lot that he can do, until he becomes Red Hulk, of course. But as far as making Banner's life as miserable as possible and always being chasing after him and wanting to just basically make his life a living hell. Just to me, General Ross is the number one Hulk villain in my opinion.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, he's always, if you think about it, just about a half a step behind Banner, and when he's not, he's a step ahead. And yeah, I can see that. There's always a constant race between the two.
Exactly.
But I think honestly, I really think it'd be really cool to see the internal struggle manifest itself physically, and to see Banner and Hulk, even if it's just for a scene, basically just lash out at each other and put all the cards on the table and really tell each other how they feel about the other, because that's something that always has to be kind of inferred from their psychology. As we as the audience, we have to just kind of uh, infer that's what's going on inside their head. But to see the two who are struggling together, pitted head to head, that would be really cool to see.
And honestly,
you're talking about Bruce Banner and the Hulk coming face to face.
Yeah, I want to see them become separate beings at some point.
Yeah. That would definitely be something. I wouldn't say that. I would say that would be a little bit in the movie universe. I would say that would be a little bit sketchy.
Right.
Maybe technology and scientifically. But when it comes to something in Asgard, similar to that Hulk versus Thor cartoon, that animated movie, I would say that when it comes to magic or Norse mythology or anything like that or myth, that probably would not be an easy feat.
Well, what I said earlier was that I don't know if maybe you were doing your work thing, but if the leader is smart, if Samuel Stearns is already smart enough to replicate the Hulk serum to some extent, I think after he's gamma radiated, he'd probably be able to find a way to do that. So I think that's another way to utilize one of his rogues as well, is have the leader be the one to somehow do that.
I think that's possible.
That actually, looking at it now, that actually would be pretty entertaining.
Yeah, and not only that, but sorry, 60, I'm gonna say one last thing, and I'm gonna let you go ahead. But I think that also has the potential to be a heart-wrenching story as well. Because Hulk, has to be one of the most sympathetic characters there is. Maybe not Hulk himself, but Bruce Banner.
Yeah.
And so, the climax has to be both of them wanting to join back up for whatever reason to become one body again. Now that I think can be a huge impact on the audience, and that can really move the audience if the motivation is there for them to both need each other, to see why they're a symbiotic relationship, that they need the other one. Bruce Banner's always seen the Hulk as some kind of parasite. He's always seen him as something that's holding him back from a normal life, and the Hulk has always seen Banner as a weakness, something that holds him back from being the strongest there is. But if you give them a really good reason to need the other, that's going to be one hell of a story.
Yeah, and I think, case in point, the Avengers. I think when Banner finally realizes, that
he has to embrace it.
Is under attack. He's just like, you know what, man, I have to. It's not a matter of chance or rage when I get upset. I have to control this thing inside me, because if I can, and going back to the Ed Norton thing where he aim it at something,
right?
He can use it for for a force for good. He can use it to help people, as beastly and as monstrous as he is, and as violent or scary. If harnessed, like that's the cool thing, is like you're not really rooting for the Hulk to come out, but you're really kind of rooting more for Banner to harness that power. It's like, man, control it and aim it, and you could actually use it for a force of good. And that's probably what we're all rooting for, in the Avengers, is like, everybody was kind of waiting, when are we going to see the Hulk on screen? And then we finally saw him, because of, him losing control.
That was some
That's,
scary shit, man.
yeah,
That was the
that was
first time
crazy.
I didn't want to see the Hulk. But sorry if I cut you off. 63, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, man. See, and just talking about right now, just about the whole character. This is why I just love the character. Just that whole side of the duality, the psychological, struggle and inner struggle that these two have on with each other. This has a big potential of making such another great Hulk film, in my opinion. And like you said, untapped territories with that character. I think there's enough for that character to go on with solo films, and then to lead up with a possible Planet Hulk and World War Hulk film.
Yeah.
But from what we've seen from the Hulk, from the Ang Lee Hulk, and we know that the director Ang Lee tried to go more on the psychological terror or thriller of that Hulk.
Yeah, by not making the Hulk come out to an hour into the movie, right?
Despite that,
I don't want to, like you said, I know we try not to bash people's movies, but Ang Lee's, shoot.
I'm pretty sure most of the comic book community can agree that that's a pretty bad Hulk film.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, it's not the best. I definitely agree with that. But I could see where Ang Lee was going with the character, that different side of the character. If Marvel could do that, but greatly executed on,
yeah,
I think that could be, in my opinion, the best Hulk film. In my opinion, if Marvel Studios can do such a pull such a feat.
Yeah, I have to say, as far as now, or as of now, I'm sorry. I'd say the Hulk is the definitive, or the Avengers is the definitive Hulk movie as of now, and we're still kind of waiting to see the Hulk movie that is like, that is Hulk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I think what happened, I am inclined to respectfully disagree.
Okay.
Just on the sense that I really think that belongs to the 2008 Hulk, because I think that without the 2008 Hulk, I don't think you would have gotten the Avengers Hulk.
Oh no, I mean I totally agree. I loved the Edward Norton Hulk. I mean honestly, people put it so low in the Phase 1 Marvel movies, and it kind of bums me out to see that. But no, don't get me wrong. I love that Hulk movie. I think that there's still potential for it to be topped, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. And again, potential with that character, so much potential.
He's just so complex, he's not easy to get right.
That's the most interesting thing about the character. I mean, there's so much complexity about the character. You can get such great original stories off of him, and along with the roster of villains he has, I mean, give that to a very well-known director, execute it well, and then right there you have a definitive Hulk film. But as you said, I consider right now 2008 the 2008 Hulk. I'm not dissing it at all. I enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, whether or not the Hulk wasn't physically looking right. I mean, that movie was a great. I don't know. Like, to me, I honestly put it. Dare to say, I mean, looking back at it now, that movie was honestly number 2 to me on my favorites of the MCU solo movies.
Wow.
Because I think, and this is for another day, another topic when we start comparing the actual Marvel movies. But I mean, on the sense of being a movie that definitely pays tribute to the comic book character in a lighthearted, fun, and like I said, you're just when you have a movie that makes you feel for a character, and that was the thing, is you felt for Bruce Banner the entire time, man, because he just, in this specific stage in his life, he's just wanting to get rid of it so he can get back to a normal life.
Yeah.
And I think that was the cool thing. But I mean, like, everything else was going on the fun part of it. I mean, all the references to anything Hulk, mythology, was some of the coolest stuff that I don't think a lot of other people can get, because not anyone was as popular, like the Lou Ferrigno cameo.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
The purple shorts reference. Hilarious.
I got an extra medium.
Yeah, I mean, like, looking back at all those other ones, and I mean, even the quotes from, don't make me angry, even Bill Bixby's little little cameo via television.
Yeah, that
Whenever he
was
was doing.
awesome. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, like it was just little things like that that just give you a little smile or a smirk.
Yeah.
In the movie theater. That's why I definitely enjoyed. I mean, I got to say, Hulk under Iron Man. That year, 2008, man. After seeing both those Marvel movies, I was like, man, this is good stuff.
Definitely, definitely.
But I will say, like the only thing that is left is definitely for Marvel to, you know, capitalize, and I think that's the thing that's going to be the toughest challenge is they want to make a relevant Hulk story. They want to make you feel for this guy. So, that's definitely one of their biggest challenges because, I think.
I think we can tie that back to Planet Hulk, though, and I think that if that's their goal, Planet Hulk isn't the right route.
Exactly, yeah. Because that's more, like what you were saying, glorifying like a Messiah and making him something that's like, there's several ways to root for a character, and I think rooting for him to be the Messiah or the chosen one isn't really it. The reason that you're rooting for Banner is you're rooting for him to get out the beast or control it.
Yeah, and I think something that made that story so impactful is that you waited 50 years to see something like that in the comic books. If you've only had one solo outing and then the Avengers, he hasn't had a whole lot of build up, and so it's not like the crowning jewel of Hulk. It's not the emotional punch it should be to see him become the Messiah after one movie and then an appearance in another.
And I agree. I totally agree. You got to establish the character to the general audience and the fans for him being sympathetic. Like you said, he is a sympathetic character. They want to establish that for a good amount of time, and then if they go down the route, the Planet Hulk route, then maybe like in a few years or so they can do that. But until now, I don't think that's the right route for them to go down with.
Yeah.
For Hulk, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, if we want to see him go down that route, we want to see him downward spiral first, and then a redemption movie being Planet Hulk.
Yeah, because I think when they started leading up to the Avengers movies, and they interviewed Mark Ruffalo. They kept on giving these little illusions that he's the most untrusted out of everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And that was really cool to see them, that scene where all the Avengers are arguing, and, it kind of turns into Banner, where they're like, man, this guy, he's the most seemingly harmless guy. He's not, he doesn't look like Thor, he's not looking like Cap, he's not looking like a soldier, he's just a normal, regular guy, but yet they understand, of course, in their minds, and of course in the story, that this is one of the scariest and most powerful men, or, things on the planet.
Yeah, that's some scary shit.
Just the whole thing, like, you have a brave ass, kick ass, I think it was a good move, and like I said, I don't want to tread off topic, I'm just, praising, the way the film's pace was, is, introducing Widow first, and proving how badass she was, and then after that, having her come and try and hunt down Banner, and knowing that she's not alone, and that she herself is scared out of her mind. She has a gun ready, and then, she's not alone. She's got the rest of the S.H.I.E.L.D. organization, right outside that house ready to go.
Yeah.
So it more of that leading up, without even having to see the beast. That's good stuff that they should be focusing on in this next Hulk movie.
Yeah, that was a very deliberate and meticulous decision, I think, on Joss Whedon to have Black Widow go after Banner.
Yeah.
That was a smart move. And honestly, in the next Hulk film, one of the things that the Incredible Hulk got right, that Iron Man I think still has yet to do, is that they didn't kill off the villain.
Agreed.
Abomination is still there somewhere, man. Abomination can come out at any point, and I would love to hear some kind of Raft or Rikers Island reference to where the Abomination's at some point.
Not even that, but I think I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think the Incredible Hulk is the only film where both villains didn't die.
No, they're both still very much a part of the universe, and they can be utilized again.
Exactly. Like, I mean, in terms of, maybe Thor, Loki didn't die, of course, but I mean, when it comes to Iron Man, I mean, both his nemesis are dead, but I mean, speaking on Hulk, Hulk has got two villains who are definitely still out there, and then if you still want to count in,
Doc
John
Samson,
Ross.
actually. Doc Samson was introduced as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, there's plenty of room for them.
I think in that short, I forget what short, that
Yeah, they talked about it. I remember what you're talking about. They go to the diner.
yeah, and I think he said the vault. I think they referenced him being in the vault. If I'm not mistaken.
Okay,
Um,
yeah.
so yeah, somewhere along they do reference him. Thank God.
Yeah, I can't remember if that was on the Avengers DVD or the Captain America one.
I think that was on the Captain America one, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
Cause
because I think the Avengers one was like the Agent Coulson in like the in the convenience store or something.
yeah, I think so. I can't remember because I
I
haven't seen
can't
that
either.
thing in a while.
Yeah.
They do reference Abomination and the Vault, so we do have a good chance of seeing. Hopefully, we have a good chance of seeing Abomination again and him being used.
Yeah, me too. I agree, man. I think Abomination definitely deserves a second chance at beating the Hulk's ass because I gotta say, dude, 30 almost 30 minutes. I think it was like around the realm of 26 minutes of two brutes just going at it. I mean, that's to me unprecedented. I've never seen that in any other film. Superman, I don't think ever had that kind of fight scene before, and the fact that it's all pretty much motion capture CG is just awesome.
Yeah, I gotta agree with that, definitely, man. Like, that was something that I myself thought, from a filmmaking standpoint, I thought that that was going to be one hell of a risk. Because, like, man, from every comic book movie that we've seen, I mean, we've seen, like, big spectacles and big action, but, to just see two CGI characters going at it, that I wasn't sure was going to work, and especially
Yeah,
because, you did kind of get it at the end of the Yang Lee Hulk, where you got, Banner's dad or whatever turning into Absorbing Man,
yeah, that was
quote
pretty
unquote
bad.
Absorbing Man. You don't know if it
Yeah,
was him or if it wasn't, but I mean, just a rough take on Absorbing Man versus the Hulk. That was something that was just a little bit, that wasn't the cup of tea, and I think that was the thing that hurt Ang Lee's. But yeah, I can definitely agree. Like, I'd love to see the Abomination back. Wouldn't see him as the main villain.
no,
But
I think he should be Leader's henchman. I mean, you got like I said earlier,
yeah,
Leader being the guy pulling the strings, and then basically Abomination has the muscle to deal with Hulk.
yeah, I think that would be something really cool.
I would
Yeah,
like to see. I think I would like to see like some sort of mutation with the Abomination. Like I don't know, some sort of change. Because to be honest, um, I wasn't quite a fan of the design that they went with the Abomination. But I understand why they didn't include the ears. But I don't know, something a little different along the line. Something maybe similar to what we see in the comics.
yeah. I don't know. I don't see that as being too far fetched for his form to basically mutate because you can justify it as in they're trying to cure him, and instead of curing
Yeah.
him, it furthers his mutation, and then we get the creature of the Black Lagoon all on steroids.
Yeah, just something along that line. Because again, I was not such a big fan of his design, but again, I enjoyed it. It was good. I liked it.
Yeah, we're heading out at about we're getting at about 100 or an hour and 10 minutes here shortly. I want to keep it relatively short, and so I was thinking let's get back to World War Hulk and Planet Hulk, and if we have anything else to say, let's say it, and then we can hop off here, and then hopefully our audience is pleased with what we had to say.
Yeah. Okay. You
Well,
guys go first. I'm still thinking.
I'll go ahead and just finish out first by saying, I think I'll just go back to my first comment on it that if the Guardians of the Galaxy is a success, then I think we will be closer to maybe getting closer than we were already to getting a Hulk movie or a World War Hulk or a Planet Hulk or somewhere along the lines of that that story arc.
You got a
If
wish list, John? Anything if that movie does ever come to fruition, you got a wish list as what you'd like to see in that film?
you know, man, I just hope that if that movie does come out, I hope that within the time before it does, that Marvel has basically been on their what I think should be Marvel's first mission foremost is to get all their properties back. That way, there is no redoing or little substitutes for the story. As much as I want to see Beta Ray Bill in that film, I think that Beta Ray Bill should be more of a Thor kind of cameo or something like that. So
Yeah.
I really think that hopefully by then, that if Marvel doesn't have the rights, if Marvel Studios doesn't have the rights back to the characters, I think I at least hope that they can cut a deal, with borrowing or something with Silver Surfer and of course the Illuminati. I know Fox has those guys. Just some little tie into it. You don't have to explain it. Because movies don't need to do further explanation, but just enough to get to get it to be faithful. Because that's what I say is Marvel's never really done a story arc, so it should be faithful in my opinion.
All right, 63 about you. Anything to say? Any wish list?
For what I want, if the Planet Hulk movie comes out, wish list.
Yeah.
Pretty much what Johnny said, really word for word. Just along the lines, if Marvel can, and I hope the guys make this their priority, try and get back as much characters from the other studios as possible. Because again, I'm not such a huge fan of CBM substituting like other characters for the main characters from the stories. I don't like that. I'm no fan of that. So if Marvel can along the line, just bring back characters that are necessary for the story. No need explaining, like Johnny said. There's no need to explain how they're tied into this. Just bring them back in, put them in there, have the story as it is. But if they, and that is if Planet Hulk is Green Goliath, if the Green Light. But in my opinion, just leave Planet Hulk and World War Hulk alone, because I don't think the Marvel Cinematic Universe is ready for that film yet, and the character as well, the Hulk as well.
All right. My last parting words here in wish list are. Personally, I'm not keen on the idea of seeing a Planet Hulk film. That's me, and people may disagree, and they may really want to see it. And if it happens, congratulations, you guys. I hope you get what you want. But if it does happen, a few things I would definitely like to see is that if the Illuminati do shoot him into space and everything, that they really underscore the idea that they wanted to send him to a world that wasn't inhabited by any intelligent life, to make them seem a little less villainous. I want to see Hulk become more literate, and I want to hear him talk. I want him to put sentences together, and then I want a big redemption movie for Hulk. I want to see him go from rags to riches, kind of thing. That's what that's what the story's kind of about, along with the Messiah tie-in. But I want to see this guy basically climb the ladder of slave to king, and I want to feel the emotional impact, and I want to see his war bound, and I want to feel the emotional ties that go along with going into battle and trusting your life with complete strangers. I want to see that really done well as well.
Yeah, dude, I agree. Also, before we end this, I just want to give a shout out. This is gonna be a shout out to Ass Piss. Yeah. See, I haven't forgotten, dude. You got the request, so I'm calling you out, dude. Big shout outs to you, man.
Ass Piss.
So, you Ass Piss. This podcast is to you.
All right. Any shout outs from you, John?
Sort of the same ones I had last time. Anybody that listens, definitely thanks for listening. If you have any more requests, put them on the comment section below. And we'd love to get more feedback. These things are just really, really fun to do. And what's even more fun is that you guys actually pay attention and listen to them. It's really cool. So other than that, everybody that I know on the chat, and there's too many people that I run into every day on that thing to say hi to. So
you know who you are, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know who you are if I see you and if I say hi to you.
All right, this is UniBeam. I'll close it out. I just want to give a big shout out and thank you to American Psycho on CBM for giving us the topic to talk about. It really interested us, I think, and we hope that you like what you heard. If you guys got anything to say, leave them in the comments section. We'd like to hear more suggestions from you guys on topics you'd like to hear us tackle. And hope you enjoyed, guys. This is UniBeam, and we're signing out. Say bye, guys.
Bye.
Later.